Welcome to The Big Match Revisited, a chance to look back at the way football was televised more than 4 decades ago. This edition was shown at the start of September 1974, and the main match came from Division 3. Settle down for some football nostalgia with host and commentator Brian Moore.
Welcome again to The Big Match, and particularly to our friends in Australia who are joining us for the first time this season. We've another 3 matches for you on the programme today, and for our main match we make one of our rare excursions into the 3rd Division. Some fresh faces on your screens as we bring you Gillingham against Charlton Athletic, and we're backing that up with 2 very good games from the 1st Division, Newcastle United against West Ham and Manchester City against Leeds United. But it's a weekend, really, when the upheaval at Tottenham continues to attract the headlines, as indeed it has done again this morning. Spurs players pleading there with Billy Nicholson to stay on, although anyone, I think, who knows Billy Nicholson can be pretty sure that once he's taken such a fundamental decision, the chances of him changing his mind really are negligible. So the players want him back, and for the first time in all the talking from Tottenham this week, Billy Nicholson tells us of the players that he has admired most. And you may or may not be surprised to know that the Martin Chivers of 3 years ago was one of them. But first, let's have some action. And for that, we go down by the busy Medway in the sunshine as well, and then into the Gillingham ground, the Priestfield Stadium, for this 3rd Division game between Gillingham and Charlton Athletic. A nice 10,000 crowd packed into that ground there. And Charlton are first out onto the field, led out by their new skipper from Sunderland, David Young. A side that's made a good start to the season, 3 points out of 4, a good win, a 4-0 victory over Peterborough in the League Cup. So there really should be no shortage of confidence in this Charlton team under their new manager, Andy Nelson. Gillingham, who were formerly managed by Andy Nelson, led out by a former Charlton player, Dave Shipley, newly promoted from the 4th Division, but yet to record their first win in the 3rd Division, a side that at the same time has been very hard hit by injuries in these early weeks to the season. So the teams then for this afternoon: Gillingham still without defenders Joe Jakes and Keith Lindsay, but with midfield player Dick Tideman back for the first time since the opening match of the season. And Neil O'Donnell, newly bought from Norwich City, he's their substitute. Charlton happily can name an unchanged side with Bobby Goldthorpe, a defender, fit again. He's named as substitute. So the players to watch out for in this particular game could well be Dave Shipley, of course, determined to do well against his old club. And the other number 5, Arthur Horsfield, better known as a striker and Charlton's top scorer last season. Gillingham's top scorer then was Brian Yeo, 31 goals, a club record. And here we have Eamon Dunphy, so long a favourite at Millwall. The referee, incidentally, that's Derek Nippard from Bournemouth. And indeed, at Gillingham, a boat and the Bunny Girls, a part of the presentation by a local engineering firm who'd sponsored this Gillingham match. And in the 10,000 crowd at the game, there's Ron Greenwood of West Ham.
And Charlton Athletic get us away, attacking the goal to our right. They've changed their strip to white with red facings. Gillingham in dark blue shirts, rather like Scotland play in, white shorts and blue stockings. Dave Shipley, high and forward for Damien Richardson to chase, but David Young shadowing it back to John Young, playing his 100th league game today for Charlton Athletic, formerly with Aston Villa, and before that, of course, with Chelsea. Phil Warman nodding that on, Keith Peacock coming in, but beaten that time by David Wiltshire, youngster who came from Canterbury as a forward, now converted to a fullback. And who played at Wembley, John Dunn, for Aston Villa in the 1971 League Cup final against Spurs. Very blustery conditions here, but both sides with managers who like to see a bit of attacking football. And Charlton with 8 goals from their 3 games they've played so far, certainly showing that Andy Nelson means to keep it going. And here's Keith Peacock, high and forward there towards Derek Hales. But Graham Knight for Gillingham. Oh, and he lost that badly to Colin Powell. Here's a chance. No penalty given. Well, that was a very dangerous piece of play in the defence by Gillingham, and it very nearly let Colin Powell, the former Barnet player, in, and looked suspiciously as though it might have been a penalty, but not given. Pitch in very good condition, and as Jacks puts it through, I think just a shade too far ahead of Yeo. Passes can be made accurately on a surface like this. Hunt. Peacock again. I think Gillingham could experience a fair bit of difficulty with these two wingers. Peacock, so much experience at getting a good cross in again, and Hilliard almost caught out by that one. Ron Hilliard really stretching for that one. This goalkeeper that they got on a free transfer from York City, 23. So it's a throw to Charlton, which Richard Bowman will take. And a good long throw for quite a small man. Galvin away. Tideman away to David Young. Curtis. And that's the throw to Gillingham.
Keep it going, Brian.
Knight. Richardson. Wilkes waiting for that one, but Warman wasn't prepared to wait, and Wilkes quite properly being pulled back for pulling back on Phil Warman. Alan Wilkes, when the big match was here last year, we saw him score the winner against Exeter. Warman then with the free kick for Charlton. Off Yeo to Eamon Dunphy. Bowman. And now Curtis. Warman again. Oh, a lot of space for him, and again they're seeking out Peacock on that touchline. Crossed in with the right foot this time. Graham Knight getting it away for Gillingham. Warman's throw to Keith Peacock, chipped in once more. Powell is there reacting before anybody, but quite gently into the arms of goalkeeper Hilliard. Knight. Jacks. On for Damien Richardson. Oh, good piece of running here by George Jackson. A good pass from Richardson. Now can he cross one in? It's a good cross there towards Wilkes, and they're in a bit of trouble now, and Tideman way over the bar and way wide as well. But a good cross there, a good piece of play by Richardson and George Jackson, a good cross by him that really had him in trouble, and then Tideman wildly wide with his shot. So John Dunn will take the kick for Charlton. Coxill, a good and a well-timed jump there. But here come Charlton again through Powell. Curtis, what a good pass there by Powell, and a good piece of running by Curtis, way over that Gillingham bar though. But at least both sides are getting their shots in. Nearly 250 appearances Bobby Curtis has had for Charlton, their penalty expert. Richardson with a header, Wilkes again with another header, Horsfield with his header. Peacock. Knight will get in for Gillingham. Tideman killing, or at least controlling that quite firmly hit ball well. Coxill again. Better looking movement again by Gillingham, and Richardson with a shot that had neither power nor direction. But another good quality move by Gillingham coming forward. There haven't been too many of them so far, in all honesty, and Charlton have had rather the better of things. Tideman. Now Powell. Hunt away again. Galvin watching him very well so far. Wiltshire. Yeo jumping for that one, but out jumped by Horsfield. This will fall for Richardson. Jacks is in a lot of space over on the left. It's with Coxill now. Trying a shot of his own, and Dunn had to go down well to save that. Those that would do that it was Yeo who was right in there should there be anything coming his way. A good shot by David Coxill. Down goes Dunn and pushes it away. So a corner then, which Wilkes will take, aiming towards Shipley, the number 5, who's right in there. In fact, Shipley got a header to it, and that'll be another corner. Coming off Warman. Wilkes again then with the corner for Gillingham. A deeper one this time, and a good catch. Warman safely back to Dunn. 10 minutes to go to half-time. Wilkes' header sending Richardson away. Yeo again is in the middle. In goes Yeo, and he couldn't quite reach out for that one. Took up another good position there, but it was just a fraction of a second, a little too quick for him. So a goal kick to Charlton. Coxhill again, a good header. Such a fighter in the middle of the field. Yeo to Tideman, who provides so much of the class in the middle of the field. Yeo. Richardson. That came off Bowman, so it's another corner to Gillingham. So again, David Chippell is coming up, and again, David Galvin's coming up, the number 4. Leaving only Knight and Wiltshire, 2 young defenders at the back. Wilkes again with a corner then for Gillingham. Dunn's got to go for this one. Shipley was in there. Richardson couldn't turn it in. Coxhill trying a little chip, and it's still not away until Dunphy boots the ball into touch. Well, there was just the glimmer of a chance for Gillingham there. Tideman with the throw for them. Quite a good long throw. Peacock right back to help out. Coxhill. And then Dunphy away. Wiltshire turning it back. Wilkes keeping it in very skillfully. Richardson now once more to Alan Wilkes for Gillingham. There's the cross coming in again. And Shipley had gone up there, and way off the target though by George Jackson in the end. He felt that he should have made a better effort. You can try to see that right eye that is now blackened when he scored an equaliser at Bournemouth in the League Cup on Wednesday. Wiltshire. And again Young, who looks almost unbeatable at the moment, David Young. Damien Richardson now, he's toyed with that just a little too long and gave possession to Charlton Athletic as Peacock takes it up against the wind and finding Peter Hunt. Keith Peacock again. Onto the right foot this time as the cross goes in, and Shipley missed that one. I think that surprised Colin Powell that Shipley missed it, because Powell was certainly in a good position just to give it the nudge it needed as the whistle goes for half-time, right on half-time. No goals in this first half, and the sun now coming out above us and indeed around us on the house close to the ground there, but no goals in the sunshine here down by the Medway. Galvin, who's had a tremendous game at the middle of the back there for Gillingham, but no goals, as I say, but plenty more to come on the big match, and we hope for some goals here at Priestfield Stadium in the second half. But we leave you at the half-time with a score: Gillingham 0, Charlton Athletic 0, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back to Priestfield Stadium, Gillingham, and it's Gillingham then who get us away at the start of the second half. No goals. Gillingham now attacking the goal to our right. Richardson for them, and now George Jacks. Young, who's had such a fine game at the back for Charlton, quite clearly justifying every penny of the £20,000 they spent on him from Sunderland. A much more tranquil scene out there than there is inside the stadium. Yeo played wide for Richardson. But hit it straight at Horsfield. So Tiedemann will take another throw. Damien Richardson. Over his head. Nice bit of skill there. It might fall for Coxhill now to get a shot in, but he had to snatch rather hurriedly at it, and it came off a Charlton boot. And so it's another corner to Gillingham. Wilkes is going to take it. Inevitably, the number 4 Galvin and the number 5 Shipley are right in there again for Gillingham. But again, a poorly hit corner. Really don't fathom out the business of having those 2 big men up in deep positions in the Charlton penalty area when all the corners are hit low towards the near post. Free kick to Gillingham, though, which Tiedemann will take. Accurate kicker of a ball, and hit there towards Galvin, and it went through about 4 Gillingham players there. Here's Richardson. Knight turning it in. Richie Bowman's there, though. Tiedemann again. Chipped in once more. Good piece of running here. Coxhill's there! Oh, and it just went wide. Coxhill and Jacks between them, completely confusing that Charlton defence with a really determined piece of running as that ball went floating into the Charlton penalty area, and Charlton were very lucky indeed to escape there. Wilkes with the header, Young with his header, Dunphy to Warman, and now for Hales. Dunphy again. Powell in a fair bit of space there, now closed up by Graham Knight, but Powell, who's shown a lot of acceleration so far. Good tackle by Knight. Young getting it away. Bowman. The throw given to Charlton. And another throw to Charlton. And Bowman having to go a long way to get it. I would have thought one of his teammates might have got it for him. But it's Charlton's throw. Coming up to 20 minutes of the second half gone. Still Gillingham 0, Charlton 0. Hales very active there, getting possession and finding Bowman again. Found a yard very nicely for himself there. That was a good cross, and Warman went in very well indeed. Over the head of Peacock, in fact. Good run there by the number 3, Phil Warman. Back once more for Knight. There's Wilkes in there. Nodded inside for Yeo. We haven't seen too much of Brian Yeo. Cross from him this time. It's too far for Jacks, but little David Coxhill will go in there. But good skill by Warman, finding Keith Peacock. Peacock running at Wiltshire, but finding again that Tiedemann is there supporting his young full-back. A good tackle from behind. The perfect one where Tiedemann took the ball and not the man. Got Wilkes up ahead of him, and Yeo. Richardson a long way across there for Knight. Jacks. Past one of them. Still George Jacks going on, curled in there and nodded away with some force by Horsfield. Powell, oh, a good run by Powell. This could be very interesting indeed. Hales, he looked as though he might have been offside, but the linesman kept his flag down. There was a deflection there, and it just went over the bar. Good sweeping run again by Charlton Athletic. I must say, when Hales first received it, he looked to be level with the last line of defenders, but he went on well, and the deflection took him over that Gillingham crossbar. Corner then to Charlton. It's with Peacock. Shipley away. Warman. Played for Powell on this side of the field for virtually the first time. That's Hilliard's. And Gillingham now bringing on their substitute. Neil O'Donnell is coming on. Former Norwich City player. And it might well be. It's Alan Wilkes going off on this side of the field. Not had the best of luck with injuries, Alan Wilkes, in the last few months. Tideman. That won't go towards Richardson. And Charlton now bringing a lot of men back. You suspect that they realise that with 10 minutes to go that they're going to be happy to settle for a point and hope that in a breakout, just as Stoke City did at QPR last week, that they might snatch both points. We shall see. At any rate, it's a free kick for Gillingham, which O'Donnell will take, and Young having just a little too much to say for himself. O'Donnell will take the free kick. Charlton have got nearly everybody back. They've got 10 men back, in fact. Shipley in there with a header, and Yeo! No, he's given offside. He's given offside. Yeo, who snaps off on chances like that so quickly and so well, that time was just a little too quick. And the goal disallowed. Lovely header by Shipley. Yeo offside. Now Dick Tideman. Jacks again on the far side. They're trying to get in and forcing Curtis once more to give away that corner. Good run again by George Jacks on the blind side of that Charlton defence. Well, Gillingham always threatened to do something with these corners if only they could place them properly with big men like Galvin and Shipley up there. Let's see what O'Donnell can do with this one. That's a good-looking corner once again, and Shipley again is in there with a header. Damien Richardson almost got in with his, and Tideman couldn't get in with his shot. Played off now for Peacock, and this could be a dangerous break. A beautiful pass by Peacock there for Powell, and Gillingham need to come back quickly. A little chip over his head, and he hit the crossbar. Peacock with the header, and that's the goal. Keith Peacock has scored. A breakaway with 3 minutes left. From one end of the field to the other, deep in defence. But what a beautiful goal it was. As it came through, Powell made ground, and then that careful little chip, but it went against the crossbar, and Peacock was there with a torpedo-like header to put Charlton into the lead. So Keith Peacock, the most experienced player probably in the Charlton side, a really great, loyal, one-club man, has helped give momentum to this fine start that Charlton have made to the season. Still not beaten, Charlton, and now with a very good chance of taking 2 points away from this game. Curtis again putting the ball into the road again, and nobody happier in this ground than Andy Nelson until, I wouldn't say he looks it, but until the summer, manager of Gillingham, now manager of Charlton, and he really has given them such a good start. It's a free kick to Charlton, but I'm mystified as to know why. Well, we've now played 1.5 minutes of injury time. Derek Nippard's had one very good long hard look at his watch. Curtis with the free kick. Hunt with the backward header. Hales is right in there too. Now here's Coxill getting it away, but only Yeo is up there with Richardson, and the final whistle goes, and Charlton with that late goal have won it, defending for a long spell in that second half, and then they broke out. A great run there by Powell, and Peacock putting it in. But I'm sure that Keith Peacock will be the very first to admit that it was a great run by Powell, and his little chip against the crossbar that made it possible for him. So there we are with a final.
Scoring themselves and going one up. The next moment, the match was lost, and it really is a Charlton goal worth looking at again. Deep in defence, And a lot of credit to Richie Bowman early on as the header comes out. Here's Bowman, the fair-haired character, beating Dick Tideman there. But this is where Gillingham begin to lose it. Number 3, Graham Knight, losing out to Peter Hunt, who just nips in there and nods it off for Keith Peacock. A beautiful ball here from Peacock. And Colin Powell, who cost Charlton some £10,000, gets in £10,000 worth of thinking here. Although the Gillingham defenders are hesitating there, they could have forced him to do something that wasn't as dangerous as this. A beautiful little chip over Hilliard's head against the crossbar, and a horizontal Peacock coming in there to score a truly great goal to bring victory for Charlton Athletic. Well done, Charlton. Defensive errors there, I'm sure, that Gillingham will want to put right before they meet Bournemouth in the League Cup replay on Brentford's ground on Tuesday night. Talking about Tuesday night, incidentally, there's a testimonial match for Crystal Palace's great old stalwart John McCormick, who was, of course, their centre-half in the side that went up to the First Division. Palace will be playing Queen's Park Rangers. Before it, there's also a showbiz match with Big Mal and Rod Stewart in action. That's at Selhurst Park Tuesday night. Let's have some more action now. It's Newcastle against West Ham at St James's Park, Newcastle. A match that was covered by Tyne Tees, and their commentator is a face and a voice that I'm sure you'll all remember, Kenneth Wolstenholme. And it's nice to see Ken back on the scene again.
Well, thank you very much, Brian. It's nice to be back in this hotbed of soccer, but the only people who don't seem pleased that I am back are the little gremlins who go around putting the weather here and there. Last night when I tried to fly up, they put little pockets of fog everywhere, so I had to have a long journey and get here at 2:15 in the morning. And now it's misty, bit drizzly, and it really looks like a November day and not August 31st. But I'm sure we're going to see a great game between Newcastle United, who've been playing really well this season despite giving away quite a few goals, and West Ham United, whom we can always rely on to provide good opposition to anyone. And the drizzle and mist I talked about has now turned to 100% rain. And now, MacDonald. Well, I don't care who you support. That's the sort of football we like to see. Malcolm MacDonald. Number 5, Taylor. Best to McDowell. Paddock. Lock to McDowell. That was the case. Those people who say ban the back pass, Terry Hibbert had no other opportunity to do anything else. Dermot with the throw. Burns. Shoot up, and he's done it! And that was a perfect pass from Mickey Burns, with every unmarked. He just stole round the back of them. 1-0 after 5 minutes for Newcastle. Best. And a foul. That, I think, the first foul of the match. Free kick going to be taken by McDowell. Patton. Oh, that was almost the equaliser. Graham Paddock. Throw to Howard. Well, that was what they call a suicide ball. He got no chance of getting it. Very cool bit of defensive work by Keeley. Padden, certainly the most impressive of the West Ham players. And MacDonald. This is a solo match, MacDonald against Taylor. What beautiful ball to Hibbett. And Hibbett having a second dip. And a penalty. MacDonald's persistence and then that lovely long centre just put West Ham's defence in a terrible tangle, and a goal or a penalty or something had to result. So it looks as if Terry McDermott is going to take the penalty kick. Day taking a bit of time getting back on his line. How about that then? Well, McDermott doesn't need anything saying to him at the moment. Best to Bonds, number 4. It was an attempt to bring in the overlapping fullback Coleman, unsuccessful. Number 7, Burns. MacDonald, 2-0. 24.5 minutes gone. 2-0. And certainly this man, Mickey Burns, can centre a football. It was a great pass to Tudor, which gave the first goal after 5 minutes, and that was a perfect centre right onto MacDonald's head rather, for the second.
Those 2 first-half goals, enough to beat West Ham United, and now it's time for your letters. And it's always nice to hear about clubs who really look after their supporters. I have a letter here from Mrs. E.L. Fort of 285 Havering Road, Romford in Essex, who tells me that her son Terry is confined to a wheelchair, and she wants to tell us about a special enclosure that Orient provide for their less fortunate supporters. It's one that's tucked away. I think we should all say well done, Orient, for looking after those less fortunate supporters of theirs, and I hope the other clubs will take a leaf out of Orient's book there if they haven't done so already. Nice to get that letter. We shall have some more letters for you next week, of course, but now we reflect on that resignation of Billy Nicholson. The Spurs players, as we said earlier, have been pleading with him to reconsider his decision, though I think without very much hope. And we thought it might be interesting to hear from Billy Nick, the players that he's admired most in his long reign at White Hart Lane. This is what he said.
Well, obviously the best team was the 61 team. The best players were the 3 players who would these days be called midfield players. That's Blanchflower, White and Mackay. I just named them as best players, but thinking about it, there are more players than that, aren't there, in that team that deserve credit and praise. I mean, Jimmy Greaves, of course, came in a bit later on, but Jimmy Greaves is a wonderful player. Bobby Smith as a centre forward was a good player. Cliff Jones outside left as a winger, tremendous, brave player. They all do their different jobs.
These are all players of 13 years ago, though. What about you don't really recognise any of those of maybe the last 4 or 5 years as being truly great players in your team?
We're talking about the team. I was talking about the best team, obviously, the 61 team. Dave Mackay, of course, went on for the 67. We've had several players here, like Pat Jennings, the goalkeeper, a brilliant goalkeeper for us. And of course, Gillingham been quite a good player for Tottenham Hotspur. A great fellow to have at the club, a fellow like that. Chivers, 2 or 3 years ago, was a very good footballer, a very good centre forward. All the potential, got everything that the player wants. Nobody has got more to give the game than what that fella's got.
Do you think he's given it all? Has he given it all, do you think?
I always thought that he could have contributed more, but as I say, when he was playing well, what was it, 3 or 4 years ago, we had few complaints, scoring lots of goals at that particular time. But, you know, where we go, Mike England's a centre-half, he's been a good player for us.
What about one particular game? Any one particular game that you'll always look back on as the greatest that Tottenham ever produced for you?
Well, I think we've got to go back to 61 again, and that final in Rotterdam.
When you beat Atletico Madrid?
That's right.
6-1, 5-1?
5-1.
5-1 in the European Cup Winners' Cup.
Yeah.
So some more sound sense there from Billy Nicholson. Well, our third match today is one of the very best from the First Division yesterday, Manchester City against Leeds, and I noticed that the Sunday Telegraph this morning described it as a masterpiece of entertainment, speed, many skills and good humour. That'll do for us. The pictures come from Granada Television. The commentator is Jerry Sinstadt. Leeds are in the all-light strip.
Summerby. Lorimer. Bell beaten to it by McGovern. Summerby. Looked as though there was no way out and his pass was tentative. Lorimer. Clark. Well robbed by Booth. Marsh. Dispossessed by McQueen. Doyle for City. Hartford, and on to Donachie, too hard? No, just stopped nicely for him. Fell for Summerby. Left foot, and in! The ball dropping Summerby through the tackle by Hunter and slotting it beautifully with his left foot. But unusual to see Norman Hunter with a tackling off. Stewart, back heel, beautifully brought off. Marsh. And on, but he couldn't get past McQueen. But Hunter, I think, put the ball out. It's certainly a corner for City. Stewart's corner, Barrett is there in the penalty area, but it was Clark who headed away and Doyle who shot, and McQueen who got ahead to the ball. Throw being left for Mike Doyle, which is a sure sign that it'll be a long one. City with 4 players in the penalty area, 4 just outside it, only Oakes left back. Bouncing awkwardly, McGovern, Barrett. Foul given against Barrett for leaning on as he went up for the header. It's Colin Barrett. Quarter of the game gone and still 1-0 to Manchester City. Barrett. Bell. Foul by Cherry from behind. McQueen. Clark. Good effort. Alan Clark. Good old-fashioned dribbling skills and a hefty shot at the end of it. Barrett to Summerby. And
Won by Doyle. And Marsh really expected Giles to get that. McQueen. Donachie arrived before Lorem. Race between two players who've been colleagues for Scotland. O'Hare threading it through Oak's legs, but no danger for City. Hartford. Giles. Yorath's header well taken by Clark. Hartford. Summerby. McGovern. Barrett lost it and recovered it well. Bell. Hartford. Doyle. And Clark this time is onside. McRae coming to meet him, and Clark is round him 1-1. You can't give Alan Clark chances like that. As deadly a finisher as there is in the First Division. The long ball away, Clark so fast to move, Booth toiling behind him, and although McRae came out, Clark knew exactly what to do. And Reaney for Leeds. Doyle. Marsh. Doyle again. Cherry's challenge didn't make contact. Stewart ran into Yorath. Bell. And out of play. Colin Bell coming into the game a little bit in this second half. Having been fairly quiet in the first. Two 11s, Yorath, and on the ball, Stewart. Donachie. Lisa Hartford. Summerby. Hunter chasing him. Off Lorimer, Manchester City throw. Donachie. Didn't reach Stewart, that was Cherry's header. This is Doyle. Away from him by Yorath, but not out of play. Donachie. Clark. Good flick off by O'Hare for Clark. Giles. Clark again. And McRae's handling, letting him down. Had the ball in his arms, but it just trickled away for a corner. Leeds' sixth corner against 3 by Manchester City. And Lorimer to take it. Hunter there. And Didn't reach McQueen. Booth beat him to it. Bell. Marsh. Out of play. Well-meant little scoop by Rodney Marsh, but he couldn't execute it as he intended. O'Hare. McQueen. Seized on by Stewart. Away from Hunter. He's got Bell on his right. Bell coming in now. Beautiful goal! A goal that brings the crowd to their feet, and my word, what a goal it was. Stewart seizing it from McQueen's header, over Hunter's tackle, Bell coming into the move now, and just watch that shot.
Yes, a brilliant game there at Main Road, and that's it for today. But we leave you with the joy and the sadness that football can produce as we say, well done Charlton, and thank you Billy Nick.
Once again, and Shipley again is in there with the header. Damien Richardson almost got in with his, and Tideman couldn't get in with his shot. Played off now for Peacock, and this could be a dangerous break. A beautiful pass by Peacock there for Powell, and Gillingham need to come back quickly. A little chip over his head, and he hit the crossbar. Peacock with the header.